You're doing life wrong. It's time to design the life you deserve. Most people are going through life optimizing for one thing, and it's just completely destroying their lives. It's like you're playing a video game and you just put all your stats into sword. Yeah, swords are cool, but you're gonna need other things than just sword. And yet, with this one take in life that you get, you're walking around like, I'm gonna accumulate big piles of money, like your crazy cat lady, but with dollar bills. Or you go and you just I'm gonna throw away my job, my relationships, and everything to just go to the gym and get six-pack abs. Or you go and spend your life going from one relationship to another, being a couch surfer. Or the most infuriating of all, the ones that buy large pillows and sit there and hum to themselves and convince themselves they're enlightened so that they can say they're better than other people and not actually achieve anything with their lives. It doesn't matter which one you pick, you are doing it wrong. Being a human being is about more than just one aspect of life. And that's what we're going to cover here today on how to start designing your life right so that you can start getting the life you deserve and being a lot happier. The first place we're going to start is where most people fixate, and that's wealth. Wealth is great. It's a powerful tool. It helps you live a good life. It lets you afford experiences. You get to help other people. It's got a lot of great qualities, and typically the reason you're getting money is because you help people. People give you money because you help them solve a problem. That's why people exchange money. Nothing wrong with that. However, when you go full smog, when you go full Smaug from Lord of the Rings and pile up giant treasure troves of dollar bills at the expense of your health, your loved ones, and your spirituality, and you just worship these piles of money, I would challenge you to remember that a great book, highly recommend it, once said that you don't get to bring any of these treasures to the kingdom of God. They're going to be eaten by rats, mice. So when you focus on just wealth, you're doing it at the sacrifice of the other four quadrants. So definitely make money. That's great. But you also need to set aside time for the whole reason you make money, which is to live your life fully. Which brings us into the second quadrant, which is your health. This one hits close to home because I've dealt with autoimmune for a long period of time at a pretty young age. I can tell you what, I would exchange all the monies I could if I could just not have this health problem. And yet, so many people sacrifice their health in exchange for stress, making money, or going to parties and having a lot of unhealthy lifestyles. And so you got to make sure that when you're designing your life, that you're building it with health in mind. You want to consider, what do you want to eat? How are you going to move your body? How are you going to maintain your health and even gain health? These are aspects of life that are beautiful until they're not. Because you can also become hyper fixated on these just like you can with money. And so when you start obsessing about what body fat percentage am I at today? Oh, did the scale go up a little bit or a little bit down? This is the hyper obsession of the physical. Oh, I got to get in my 3 hours, my 4 hours, my 5 hours at the gym. When you take it to the extreme, you've now just become a crazy cat lady of abs. It's pretty weird. You should stop doing that. Because there's other aspects of life that bring happiness. For example, the third category, which is relationships. Relationships are at the foundation of happiness. Having good friends, having company with people, having people to talk with, share with, to use the money that you make and make their lives better, to go and enjoy fun experiences with together. And this is another part of your life that you need to set aside time for. And remember that building relationships and maintaining relationships is no different than a business. And you should treat it like a business. Make sure you're following up with people. Make sure you're setting up events. Make sure that you're letting them know that you care and you remember them. It sounds kind of gross when you put it this way, but then again, relationships are work. We all know it. Yet how many people actually put in the work for those relationships? So maybe it is a little weird, but do you want to have good relationships or not? Speaking of not having good relationships, you can take this to the extreme as well. If you're always chasing the next relationship, you're trying to find a new person, you're just going through people to use and abuse them as you go through life, surfing from couch to couch, never getting anything but taking everything. You're like a pirate of pussycats, and unfortunately, the only treasure you're going to be finding is these weird little crab things. Trust me. You don't want that, because you want to be making sure that you set aside time for the fourth quadrant, which is spirituality. This is the place where you remember who you really are, understanding that this moment that we're in is a blip in the universe, and you're one of a kind and will never happen again. This experience is so extraordinary. Inside your mind right now, you can use your imagination and go down to the cells dividing inside your body unconsciously. Each breath getting filled with oxygen, and each breath out, millions of chemical reactions occurring without you ever thinking of it. And yet you can expand out as well, stretching your mind beyond this space, beyond the earth, beyond the confines of space itself. Holding yourself there, the entirety of the universe, inside your mind. And the processing power you just used to do that, as your mind comes right back to this moment here, is more powerful than all of the computers on Earth combined. What the hell is that inside of you? And I wonder what the great minds of history and time have had to say about it. Something worth looking into. And yet, even this can be taken too far. You can go and become obsessed with spirituality to the point where you do it at the sacrifice of all these other things. You go lock yourself away from society and say, I'm just going to go breathe on a mountaintop, man, and isolate myself from society and become happy, bro, because I'm so enlightened. I don't need money. I don't need to eat healthy, and I don't need friends. Okay, well, you can go and do that, and you do it at the expense of what life is all about, which is a great and healthy balance of all of these things coming together. So when you're designing the life that you deserve, make sure you're building yourself like a character. Look at these slots and make sure that the time and habits you build account for all of them. You should be putting habits in every one of these categories so that you build not just a life that's successful, but a life that's actually worth living.